Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Well, hello there. Fancy meeting you here. Let's see, what is this? It's 9:37 on a Wednesday night here in Oklahoma City. Welcome. You're at AT's Weather. I'm meteorologist Aaron Tuttle, the most polarizing meteorologist in the country. So, hey, glad you could be with me, whether you're a lover or a hater of me or AT's Weather. So glad to have you with me. We're going to talk about the weather coming up here for the weekend. We obviously have a storm system to talk about, which is why I'm here. We're going to get down to the details on that. We'll tell you, it still looks like we're going to see some snow across Oklahoma. And then we'll kind of get into the particulars, timing, how much, location, all that kind of stuff. So you come to the right place for I'll dive into the data. See you guys checking in all over the place, by the way. Just a quick little perusing here. Wokoka's in the house, Midwest City, Crowder's here, Kellyville. Where else we got? Let's see, Edmonds in the house, Hydro's here, Kingfisher's here. You guys coming from all over. War Acres, Diana kicking off some stars, thank you. Let's see, we've got... yeah, I keep forgetting it's the Super Bowl weekend. My brain just is like, when the Cowboys got, nixed again, my interest factor drops, and that seems to happen every year, unfortunately. I think Jimmy Johnson should come out of retirement. Let's see what else we got in here. Let's see, Keeper, Oklahoma, Wokoka, Bixby, Norman, Tuttle. Awesome. You guys are all over. Yukon, Lawton. So we're covering the whole state tonight. So thanks for joining me. Let's see. Now we got enough people in here. Let's get on with the program, shall we? Again, on the Facebook link, you can join to my broadcast channel. I just posted it in the comments section. So make sure you tiptoe over there and tap the link either before or after, even during the broadcast. You can always come right back. You have to have a messenger on your phone for that to work, by the way. You can't just do it on your computer. You can try, but I don't think it's going to let you. But anyway, so that is an option for you to join the broadcast channel. I just basically let you use it to let you know when I'm going live so you don't miss anything, is the primary use of that feature. All right, let me see here. Guys on Rumble, thanks for checking in. Good to see you. And on YouTube, I see you already throwing some... Was that some trophies there, Robin? I see those trophies over there. Thanks again for you guys tuning in. All right, let me see here. What else we got? I think that's about it. Okay, so let's get on with the program. Got that stuff out of the way. Let's see here. First thing we're going to do, by the way, I see you, Susan. Thank you for the stars. And yes, Team Tuttle's in the house. Shannon, thank you. You'll see Jody in the comment section talking to you guys and gals. Here's a look at temperatures. So we're at 58 degrees here in my backyard, my Tempest weather station. By the way, I had to change my promo code. So if you've noticed, it's always been AT's Weather in the top right corner. However, I've had to change it. It's now Team AT. You're like, well, why would you change it? Well, because my coupon code got scraped on the internet. So it's all over the internet. So Tempest was like, hey, dude, you're giving away too many discounts. We got to change your code. So that way only your followers get it, not everybody. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. So there you go. Team AT, if you want to get a Tempest weather station like I've got, you can read all these little numbers here. It goes right to your phone, and etc. And there's their QR code there. You can just go to my website, aarontuttle.com, at any point in time and get the link there as well. But we got some clouds around out there here in Oklahoma City, but we also have some rainfall. If you take a look at their statewide view, we do have some light sprinkles and some light showers across western Oklahoma, kind of moving in a southwest and northeastward fashion. Here across central Oklahoma, this was basically some clouds you probably saw. Really cool little, almost like mammatus, little wispy clouds that were coming down. That was Virga evaporating before hitting the ground. That's what causes that little look to it. Anyway, that little batch has moved on off. It didn't really do anything, maybe a few sprinkles, and that was it. And then out here in western Oklahoma, something's a little bit more than sprinkles, even some showers that have actually accumulated some drops in the rainfall bucket out here in northwest Oklahoma. But that's about all we're going to see tonight. This will move from west to east overnight into tomorrow morning. And then that'll be all said and done. Like I said, our atmosphere is pretty dry. You're not going to get a whole lot out of that. If you do look at the rainfall bucket so far, Here across western Oklahoma, it's only around a few hundredths to about a tenth to 2/10 of an inch. So a couple of hot spots, otherwise not really much out there on the state with this go around. All right, temperatures today, whoo, they were nice, right? Can you get used to this stuff? Mid to upper 60s, eastern half of the state, lower 50s out across the west because those clouds moved in a little sooner. Now, because of the stretch of warm weather, this is a key factor in our upcoming weekend event. So you see these 2-inch soil temperatures, they are back into the 50s and 40s because we have not had any Arctic air anywhere around to cool those things down. So that means is we do get the snow, it will melt pretty quickly from the ground level, which means traffic, although briefly bothered, should quickly improve. Now here's some of the key points. The National Weather Service, I'm proud of them. They got on top of this yesterday, and more so today. I think it was really when they kind of got their confidence. Yesterday kind of started going that direction, which was good. So I got a little graphic here for you. They have a medium to high probability for snow accumulation across northern Oklahoma. Probabilities decrease with southward extent. The other issues, we talked about this at lunchtime today, the cold air will be limited with this system, with surface and ground temperatures only marginally supportive for snow accumulation. So snow accumulation will be dependent on where the highest snowfall rates occur. There is a potential for at least minor travel impacts, especially across northwest Oklahoma. And they kind of break this down into a probability map. Now, is this going to verify? Anything changing the data? Well, we'll take a look. We got some new stuff coming in, and I will tell you this will change really pretty much between now through Friday because you have to, because the data is not that good until you get to about that window. So we'll look at the first model that came in on the global side that can tell the tale, and then we can look at the specifics here in a minute, but just want to kind of give you the big picture. The bright red colors indicates the lift in the atmosphere. All right, so you see how that big trough developing out here to our west. This is for Saturday evening. Big, broad trough right here. But it's really kind of almost like a long wave trough. It goes all the way into Canada. But if we zip on into Sunday morning, you start to see these little circle features. That is the formation of the upper low kind of closing off a little bit and getting a little stronger. Now here's the key. This is Sunday during the midday hours. It has the center of the low here in western Texas, southwest here, like Wichita Falls. As we get into the Sunday evening time frame, it zips here into basically that area, the Wichita Falls and Lawton, right on the Red River. Now, for you snow lovers, you want to be kind of where that low is, that center of it, kind of in this little quadrant. So it's so if you split the low like this, like across, and that's the center of the upper level low, you kind of want to be on the cross side, kind of in this northern section here. That's your sweet spot. So you want to be on the northern fringe of this, and so hey, you want this along the Red River or maybe a little bit inland to the state if you want more widespread snow across Oklahoma. Now it does kind of zip, looks like it kind of goes like this, right? So look at the center of it's going up, kind of like this track. So that would mean the snow would fall along and north of this track. So let's go into the next hour. So there's Monday morning. There across northwest Arkansas and southeastern Missouri, then it's kind of moving on away by midday Monday. All right, so that is the latest data coming. This is the Icon, or the German model. Actually does fairly decent. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. Anyway, that's going to kind of give us the idea of what's happening. Then the question is, every model is going to have that track a little different. A little more to the south, a little more to the north, a little faster, a little slower. And they'll start to kind of come in more agreement as we head into tomorrow and Friday for sure. But at least they're all kind of finally lining up here for today. So that means your confidence goes up and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's a look at the precipitable water. This is, in other words, how much moisture is in the atmosphere to work with. So there's some here for tonight that's moving through overnight hours. And that moves on off to the east. That's giving us the clouds and a few of those sprinkles out there. And then as we head into the Saturday night, and Sunday, you start to see more moisture working in the states. That means we'll start to get our little bit of light rain developing for Saturday night into Sunday. And here's Sunday midday, so that moisture does back in here to across most of the state. So as long as we get some precipitation falling from the sky to take advantage of this, it's a 3/4 of an inch of precipitation probability that can happen around the region. So if you were to convert that with the 10-to-1 ratio, and it just happened to be all snow, that's 7 inches of snow. If you were to look at things really oversimplified. Doesn't quite work out that way, but for simplicity's sake, we'll use that mindset. All right, so by Monday morning, you can see the wraparound here, which indicates the upper low is departing and taking the moisture along with it. So that means our window for precipitation really starts Saturday night for rainfall. But as far as snowfall goes, it looks like it's going to start probably about Sunday morning early and then wrap up by early Monday morning. Now, the cold front will come in for Friday night and a Saturday. and we will bring in some slightly drier air. So let's go to the dew point values. This is what this is on the map. Right now it's in the 30s. And if you look right here, this is Friday evening. It's a little stretch of some dry air in here mixing down. So that's a 22-degree dew point. Now this is not Arctic air, all right? Just so you know, there's a big difference. So we're not talking about ice. We're talking about a pretty moist environment already. Let's go into Sunday morning to Sunday noontime. All right, so our dew point values are at noon on Sunday, on this model data, is already in the mid-30s here across central and eastern parts of eastern Oklahoma, and into the 40s way down here, and it's kind of in the upper 20s, mid-20s out here in the Panhandle to around 30 in Elk City and Enid. So the reason why the probability and the confidence of more measurable snow goes up north and west is because your dew point values are a little lower during the event, which will allow wet bulbing to occur and allow those surface temperatures to get a little bit colder to support the snow rather than melt the snow. So I'll show you the temperatures here in a minute. But anyway, so we don't have very far to go with the actual dew point values. There's Sunday, 6 p.m. We're at 32, Stillwater 31, Tulsa 31. So there you go. So there's really no chance for us to get really cold with this system. The cold air has to come really down from above, and that's kind of what that is indicating. So in the meantime, enjoy the nice southerly winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour at times. Take a look at temperatures here for tomorrow. We're right back into the 60s, maybe even some 70s sneaking in there out to the east. As we head into Friday, we'll repeat again, kind of chilly in the mornings, but in the afternoon, not bad. We got a lot more 60s out there for your Friday afternoon. And then, as we said, for Friday night into Saturday, it's when our next cold front comes in. It's not super strong, but it's enough to kind of knock it back down about 10 degrees or so. So here's a look at Saturday midday and then Saturday afternoon. Still some 50s holding on out to the east. Otherwise, it looks like 40s across a good chunk of Oklahoma for the kickstart of our weekend. We'll cloud over, and we'll get a little bit of rain out of that later in the day. So heading to Sunday morning, and this is how things get interesting, all right? So we'll start you off, looks like low 40s. So our high on Sunday, let me back this up. Our high on Sunday, maybe 44 degrees at midnight, kind of a deal. And then we drop down to 42 in the morning, and then we drop down at noontime around 39, and we're kind of going downward, right? Well, if you notice, this blue area, in the case the freezing line, is out to the west by Sunday midday. And then as we head into the evening hours at 6 o'clock, look what happens. So our temperatures continue to fall because we have that cold rain changing over into big wet snowflakes. And this model seems to favor this zone. And that's how you can tell, because it's really cooling temperatures down around it. Whereas the lowest here is about 33 degrees. And yes, you can have snow between 32, 33, 34, 35. Even I've seen it at 36 degrees. It's very rare when that happens that warm, but it just all depends on how cold it is, just a few feet off the ground from that point forward. Then get the snow time enough to melt. But trust me, it will be melting in this environment as long as it falls faster than the rate it can melt. Then you end up with measurable snow. And that looks like right now, that's what the models are promising us. If you look elsewhere out of this little corridor, though, you can see how temperatures warm up around 40 real quickly. So this is all cold core generated temperatures that come down from the column into the surface on the back side of that upper level low. So that's why that is key where you get the track of that feature. And so as you can use your imagination, you can say, well, this is probably going to be where this model favors the heavier snow, right? So I'm going to show you that here in a second. And I think that's our next map or two. Let's see. Here is the midnight hour and then overnight into Monday morning. We're still mid-30s across most of the state. And of course, at this point in time, any snow, anything wet on the ground, bridges and overpasses, if you get down to that freezing point or lower, will be a little slippery. And of course, if there's any snow that hasn't melted by that point, will be slippery. Otherwise, Monday afternoon, we warm right back up, 40s. Looks like across most of the state, and any snow we have, a good chunk of that is going to melt. This is going to be a quick system. All right, so here's a look at your precipitation breakdown. Let's zip into the Saturday afternoon. There's southern Oklahoma into North Texas, quite a bit of rainfall down there. That moves into Saturday evening across southern and southeastern Oklahoma, so that is where our batch of rain will probably a little bit on the heavier side. That little wave moves off overnight Saturday into Arkansas, and then we shall focus the next wave that comes in for Sunday morning across North Texas and southwest Oklahoma. But you can see the blue, which represents snow, back out here in this region. And as we go to the next timestamp at noontime, you can see how that snow is now pressing off to the east, just slowly changing over from rain, a cold rain, to, yes, that wet snowflake activity. And here's Sunday afternoon. It continues to expand. So you see how little by little it's just edging on into Oklahoma. And then I'll clear this out. So here's the midnight hour. Still got snow over central and northeast Oklahoma. And then by daybreak Monday, still some leftover light snow for northeast Oklahoma. And there's Missouri and far northwestern Arkansas by midday Monday. And it's pretty much all over with. So that is our system. So it's about a 24-hour window of snow across the state, going from west to east, and it's kind of slow in that transition. So here's a close-up view, by the way. Again, there's that snow moving in 6 a.m. across far western Oklahoma, and then by lunchtime, pretty heavy snow. There's that purple areas where the model loves that heavy snow. And you can kind of see, remember we talked about those temperatures kind of cooling in this environment? You can see where it's got the heavier snow within that little band that moves on through. Again, noontime on Sunday, 6 a.m. on Monday. The snow's wrapping up to an end. So that does mean if you're going to be going anywhere for Super Bowl Sunday, you'll be having some snow to drive through. So here it is, $1 million question. How much is it going to snow? All right, so before I show you this map, I want you to listen to me. All right, here. Listen to these lips. Remember, when I show you these snowfall maps this far out, I don't want to hear, a week from now going, you promised it was going to be a foot of snow, 2 feet of snow, 3 feet of snow. I'm going to immediately block you for being a dork. You're done. I don't even want to waste my energy on you. So listen closely. When I show you these maps this far out, these are guidance as far as trending. All we're looking at is placement, how much the models think potentially can happen in the atmosphere, and we trend it down as we get into the 48-hour window, just like tornado forecasting. I don't talk about tornadoes beyond 48 hours because too many things can change. Same thing with snow, same idea. So by Friday, midday to afternoon, that's when we get the actual, probably more accurate snowfall total. So keep that in mind when I show you, what I'm about to show you, because you're going to go, does that really say what I think it says? And you're going to run around, you're going to be all excited, and then when it doesn't happen, you're going to be all angry. I don't want you angry. All right, so here we go. That said, here we go. All right, I'm doing it. All right, this is the American model. Now, American's a fun model. We call it the flip-flop model. Anyway, looking at a standard 10-to-1 ratio, which is normal in this part of the country this time of the year. And you see this little peach area? Can you see that little number I just put up there on the screen, little active readout? You might see what that says? That says 30, as in 30 inches of snow. Now you see what I'm saying? Now you know why I had to say, read my lips. Look here. Because, listen, 30 inches of snow, come on now. So anyway, you come back to me and say, you promised me 30 inches of snow, you're gone. Don't you do it. Anyway, the point is, the models woke up today with, oh my goodness, let's just dump snow across the state. So fine, whatever. We have to see a trend, obviously, with this, and this is the very first time these guys went nuts. But it's just fun to see. The kid in me loves to see snow outputs of 3 feet. I mean, why not? Now, the icon model, who we looked at tonight's data so far, at a 10-to-1 ratio, kind of outlines that heavier spot I outlined in blue. And you can see it's up to about 2 feet almost. There's Elk City. It's got a little 21-inch dial here. And it's got 3, 4, 5, 6 all over the place. All right. So let's go to the UK Met. The UK Met, interesting enough, started in this vicinity when it first had snow. And it's gradually moved it north. And it's actually gradually gotten it heavier. And it's up around a foot of snow in the red areas. Across northern, northwest Oklahoma and Kansas. And then finally, the European also has almost about a foot of snow here by 35, almost here in Oklahoma City, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this is where I have to deflate your excited bubble. This is where the kids are watching. This is where we're going to have to sit them down, and we're going to talk physics. All right, so this is the sad part, all right? That's just standard 10-to-1 ratio. Now, it's not going to be that much snow that falls. And then on top of that, we're going to have to melt it, right? So now let's look at the factors of what we would call warm ground temperatures, the actual air temperatures being around 33 to 35 degrees, during the event. And so you're going to have the offset of snow melt at the same time the snow's falling. So when you got to go out there with a ruler at some point during the event, especially if you wait too long, it starts to melt. So when you do that, and you factor that in, this particular model tries to do that. And look at the output. We've now dropped to a dusting here in Oklahoma City, 5 inches Elk City, and out here in the paint a little bit more. This is for the icon model, the German model we looked at tonight. All right, so what about the American model? What the one that was going 30, 33 inches of snow? What's it doing? Well, now it's down to 8. All right? So you see what I'm saying? And then, but it's got the big happy place and the northwestern quadrant of the state is the take home that this model is indicating. And then back up in southeastern Kansas. Now the European has a little bit more of a southern track, so it's going to favor kind of most of the central part of the state, kind of run along I-40 and then kind of west to east. So I like this output. I usually go with the Euro in most cases. And then when you factor in its snow melt, it still has 5 inches of snow here in Oklahoma City. And that little hot spot it had up there, what, a foot, is dialed that back to 6 inches. So in other words, the Europeans saying widespread dusting to 1 to 2 inches, and then where we get the favorable temperature profiles, etc. And the track, you're going to get some heavier amounts that will end up being 4, 5, and 6 inches of snow that are measurable, not that falls from the sky. You may get a lot more that falls from the sky, but if half of it melts, what good is it, right? So this would be the measure part. So these will be the numbers we'll focus on because we're in this kind of a warmer atmosphere for this upcoming Sunday event. So that is the first look, at snowfall totals across our region. If you do look at the European data at the ensembles, when I showed you this on Sunday in my blog, there were only a handful that had snow for that Sunday, and I wasn't quite ready to pull the trigger. There wasn't enough confidence there. And then every day they've added a few more members, and then today they went nuts. So they have most of these, only a few blanks here that don't have any snow output, for central Oklahoma. So that's, in other words, the model has gone way, way confident on the output. And if you look at what we call our probabilistic winter storm severity index, in other words, this tracks a blended view of the model data for impactful conditions that you would feel. And they break it down to snow amount, snow rate, snow load, ice accumulations, blowing snow, etc. So this is the snow amount, and obviously it's got some very good amounts of snow out of this event out here focused across New Mexico and the Panhandle. It's the likelihood of impact, which is like 40%. And now this is actually very late. It is a late reaction. It's a knee-jerk reaction to LTTP basically. So I like it just for it's about time, confidence deal versus I'm looking for it as a lead. This is not a lead, it's a follower. But it's potential winter storm impacts because we're in the minor deal here. So in other words, if I were to switch this to moderate, you see how that pretty much mostly all disappears, and there's some up here in Kansas. If I go to major, there's hardly any probability at all up here in Kansas, or Missouri rather, and that's it. So most of it's a minor, which is expect a few inconveniences to daily life, winter driving conditions, use caution while driving. If we were to go to moderate, for example, then you get some hazardous driving conditions, closures, and disruptions to infrastructure, roadways, that kind of deal. So we're kind of in that more of the minor to / maybe possible some moderate with this event because of the temperature profile. Temperatures, obviously, into the 60s next couple of days. Saturday, not quite as warm. This 53 may be a stretch, depends on how much clouds we get in here and if the rain moves in a little earlier. But otherwise, spending most of the day into the 40s. And then on Sunday, we will be into the 30s. Remember, our high will probably occur at midnight, so during the daylight hours, we'll probably be in the entire 30s the entire day. And then on Monday, we'll start you off cold and then warm you back up to around 40, and most of the snow that's out there will melt. Probably a little bit of residual left over for Tuesday, but then by then, it'll all melt as well, and that is the end of that. All right, so that is the entire nutshell of what's going on. And now, if you want to hang with me, we're going to look at just a couple of different model tracks of new data that came in and for snow amounts, because those all came in here. Let me see if the timing is good. We go to 90 and 84 hours. All right, we're getting there, close enough. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do the GFS. And we're going to look at the track to see if the new data that comes in this evening, the German model is first, our American model is second. Why we always got to be second in something? Whatever happened to America first? That was an unintended pun, by the way. That was not a political statement. Do not say, stop doing politics. That was just a joke that just happened to coincide with your news cycle. I don't watch the news, so remember, I'm innocent. I'm innocent until proven guilty in a court of public opinion, which happens all the time. All right, let's see. Sunday morning. All right, let's go to midday Sunday. All right, so there's that upper level low focused right around this little area here. So there's the center of it right there on Sunday midday. And then let's see, by the evening hours, it's kind of moving slowly to the east. So it's a similar position to the icon. All right, so we'll see what that probably means. It may take the exact same track as the icon and just kind of go along this little path right here where I've got the L's for you, which would indicate it hasn't really changed in its prior forecast position too much. matter of fact, let's just do this. I'm going to do this, pick the last one. Ooh, no, I can go one more. One more just came in. All right, let's go Sunday evening. All right, so Sunday evening, it's got it right over basically Altus area. Let's go back to the trend loop on this. We're going to go back to, what is today? 7th? We'll go back to the 5th. All right, on the 5th for Sunday evening. All right, a couple days ago. This is how bad the models have been. Let's give you an idea. All right, I had it way out here, nowhere near us. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, it got closer. Okay, boom, it's in Texas. It's not bad. Okay, and kind of holding that same position. Oh, then it just all of a sudden now it's in northeastern Oklahoma. That's a bad deal. Okay, oop, retrograded back into central Oklahoma for Sunday evening, right on top of Oklahoma City. Okay, now it's all of a sudden back to the east again Sunday on the next one. Again, the next one's to the east of us. Oh, we're back on top of us. Oh, now it's back to the left again. And, oh, now it's back to being on top of us. And now it's back to the southwest again. GFS. All right, so obviously, as the forecaster, and you're trying to get the exact track of this thing and the timing, this model's been no help to you. What a joke. Sometimes they do really good, and sometimes they have a really tough time, and this one is having a tough time. Okay, so let's get off of that. Let's go back to the current version of this, and then we'll look at the Canadian. The Canadian actually disappointed me in this entire event. It was just so late to the party. I couldn't believe it. It helped me out when I did the ice storm forecast because it knew what was going on then, but it just didn't know what was going on with the snow. All right, let's see here. Let's go. All right, there's midday Sunday and afternoon. Now, it's hugging the Red River right through Ardmore at midnight, and then it kind of drives more to the east. It has more of an eastward movement, so that would bring the heavier snow southward rather than northwest Oklahoma. So let's go take a look at that snow output as a result of this little change. So let's go to GFS here. All right, and let me go to the 10-to-1 ratio. All right, so this is not taking into account the melting, all right? But remember, when we looked at this model a moment ago, it had 30 inches of rain, or 30 inches of snow. If you look at it now, it only has a foot of snow to maybe 17 inches. So you see how wild that is? So that's why you got to take the stuff with a grain of salt. But again, what we're looking for is trends, right? We'll go with that lower track level. Remember the upper level low kind of did this, and it looks like it was kind of doing this. Maybe it'll do this. But what it's doing is it's keeping that snow along to the north of that track. So what happens is it's not so much heavier in this area anymore because a little bit more of the south, and so now it brings it here into central Oklahoma. So that is good news if you're a snow lover here in Oklahoma City. Okay, so now let's go back to where we were with the upper level pattern. All right, so we're finished with the GFS. Let's take a look at the Canadian. Let's see what promises it has. All right, we'll zip through. Here comes our system. Oh. Listen, if this thing scores the coup on this, then I'm gonna be impressed. All right, because it has been north every freaking run versus all the other runs. Okay, of other models. Let's go Sunday night. So this is no good for snow for us, man. All right, so it's got the upper level low. Where does it start from? So we're Sunday. So instead of this base in trough getting it going, a little bit of energy kind of swings in and it kind of forms it here instead, and then kind of drifts it in this pattern like this. So not down here, but up here. Huge difference in output. Huge. That's a big difference maker for us for snow. All right, anyway, so that thing closes off up across Kansas. We get some lift across the state for sure, a little bit of wraparound, but when we show you the output of what this looks like, you're going to be really disappointed. So let me do this. Let me switch to our regional view. And then let's switch over here to the Canadian. Okay, so there you go. See what I'm saying? Look what it did. Because the low was here and went up like this, it took all the snow with it. Man, that's a dusting in Oklahoma City, and that's nothing south of I-40. Just some dusting up north of I-40 to northern Oklahoma. So, let me see. I think those are the only 2 miles that are going to come in that we really care about. Let me see. Yeah. All right. So, in this particular case, when you look at that, you're going, wow, what do you make of that, Aaron? do I make of that? All right, so what I make of that is, I didn't show the UK Met from the morning data, but it's a lot like the Euro and the GFS, etc. So it's on the southern track. So you have 4 global models with the track going across some fashion of southern, Oklahoma, and then kind of moving to the northeast into northwestern Arkansas. So that's kind of the general consensus on the track of that upper level low with those other Baskin models. And then you have the one outlier, which is the Canadian model that has it more to the north, and the way it's just handling, it's the way it's going to handle heights and wind field aloft, and maybe whatever they use in that model for physics, maybe just something likes to trigger it more in a northward track from that versus what the others are seeing. I'm not a modeler, so I don't know what it would be seeing differently than the others do. I like what the others are looking at, but what that happens is that it's an outlier, and in statistical, the world of probabilities, what do you do with outliers? You usually throw them away. So that's what you usually do in this case. So as a meteorologist doing the forecast, it's in the back of my mind of going, makes me nervous, okay? But I have to go with the general trend, which is, okay, we have an upper level low coming across the state. We're going to have rainfall, obviously. We're going to have some snow. It's going to be on the backside of the rain. The exact track matters, obviously, as we showed you. And the amounts, a lot of it's going to melt, as we showed you. But there should be some decent snow. But there's that caveat, because we're only Wednesday, right? We're talking about a Sunday event. And if the models all of a sudden start trending north tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? And they're starting to trend more back to the north, closer to the Canadian. And all of a sudden, most of the snow is out of the state. It's any decent snow. I mean, that thing had a dusting to an inch, maybe 2, across the northern parts of the state. So, in other words, that's a bust, right? Because if the rest of the models are showing, a foot of snow, and all of a sudden this thing shows a dusting, that's pretty different. And then it moves it in Kansas as a result. So, as a forecaster here, it's kind of like I caution. In other words, my confidence isn't as high as it would be, but I have to go with consensus, right? And so for me today, as a consensus, I would say, okay, we'll go with the mid approach, and we'll just keep basically the central part of the I-44 corridor, north and west along that boundary would be the most favored zone for snow. South of that boundary, southeast Oklahoma, not so much. Temperatures too warm. The track is a little bit north of there. So to me, that would be the safe call. Now, if I was, sold on the Canadian and I loved it so much and the rest of the models didn't mean anything to me, well, I'd go with the Canadian forecast, which was a lot of decent snow for Kansas and a little dusting for northern half of Oklahoma, and that's it. Call it good. I'm not doing that just because I got to see better trend than that. So I'll go with the other group on the forecast side and know that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more days to go, right? To outline and to fine tune that kind of stuff. But if I had to be, if I had no choice and I couldn't look at any more data from here on out, and I had to give a forecast and I couldn't change it at all, then unfortunately what I gave you is what I'd have to keep it at. I just have to let it ride. So that's it. That's how meteorology works. Sometimes they're easy and you can see them coming from a mile away, and others you got to make little adjustments because every little adjustment makes a big difference in who sees snow and who doesn't, and how much you see and all that kind of stuff. And you got a good example today of how the same model can waver in, let's see, was it 6 hours ago? The run that it had was 30 inches of snow, and then all of a sudden now it only has a foot of snow. But I love seeing 30 inches of snow on a map, though. Trust me. I get excited about that. I know it's not going to happen, but I still get excited about it just because it's on the map. But anyway, so that's it for me. Okay, so that's all I want to show you. So thanks for hanging in there as we looked at some additional data, just kind of do a little fun with it. And we'll do the live at lunchtime tomorrow and Friday. Those are my really short ones because I'm on a lunch break, so I only have like 10 minutes to do it, and I got to get it. So do a really quick summary on those. On these evening ones, I get to show you a lot more graphics. We get dive into the reasons how, why, and what to look for, and that way you can learn a little bit on these storm systems yourself, and that way you can kind of pick it up and be a backyard meteorologist like Mrs. Tuttle. Mrs. Tuttle's a backyard meteorologist. She took a couple of online classes from Harvard X, I think it was. She actually said they were fun. So if you want an online weather certificate, there you go. Those are free. All right, that's it for me. You guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk again soon. And cross your fingers if you want some snow. Remember, it's the good kind. It won't stick around very long, and it's mostly a non-nuisance event, but it's there long enough for the kids to enjoy it, have a nice snowball fight, that kind of stuff. It sticks. So it'll be the perfect kind of snow. Trust me, you'll want this one. The other ones you may not like. This is the kind of stuff that you would in most cases. All right, again, like and share this video. Tell your friends and family about AT's Weather. Get my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It is free on Apple, Google Play. Just search for AT's Weather and you'll find it. And I will talk with you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.